I'm Joanna Small, your Public Information Officer for the Wheat Ridge Police Department. It's Friday, April 21st, and this is your WRPD Video Week in Review. Here's a summary of some of the most notable calls your Wheat Ridge patrol officers responded to over this past week, as well as some unsolved cases detectives could really use your eyes on. On April 20th, WRPD officers and crash and traffic team investigators were called to I-70 westbound at Independence for reports that a man was attempting to intentionally be struck by vehicles. He was eventually hit and then transported to the hospital for his injuries. I-70 westbound was closed to one lane for approximately an hour while we investigated the incident. Numerous people witnessed the crash, including one of our own traffic officers, and we do appreciate their cooperation in helping us piece together exactly what happened there. Also on April 20th, the owner of a business in the 10,000 block of West I-70 Frontage Road North received an alarm notification and went to work. When he arrived, he discovered a suspect in the process of trying to steal items from the business. The suspect menaced the owner with a sledgehammer, then fled. Responding officers determined the sledgehammer had also likely been used to force entry through a brick wall into the business. A suspect and suspect vehicle were identified through surveillance images, and what's called an attempt to locate was issued to surrounding agencies. This investigation is ongoing. Again, on April 20th, officers joined our school resource officer at Everett Middle School to ensure that students stayed safe during a planned anti-gun rally just outside the school in honor of the 24th anniversary of the Columbine mass shooting. Hundreds of students gathered briefly on the field with signs, then returned safely to class. On April 19th, officers responded to the 4800 block of Kipling for reports that a woman had stolen from a convenience store, was confronted, and then ran. When she did so, she ran into traffic on Kipling. Officers were able to catch up to her, but she resisted arrest once she was contacted. She's now facing theft, obstruction, and resisting arrest charges, and additionally, she was trespassed from the store in which she shoplifted. On April 18th, officers were called to the hospital for a suspect who was refusing care for intoxication, but also refusing to leave the property. The suspect assaulted hospital security, and patrol officers transported him to detox. He later caused a disturbance at the detox facility and refused treatment there. Officers returned to detox and transported him to jail. He's now facing trespassing and harassment charges. On April 17th, officers responded to one of the hotels in the 4700 block of Kipling for a woman who was inside a room that was not rented. Upon contact, they learned the woman had 3 active warrants for her arrest. She was transported to jail on the warrants and issued a summons for criminal trespassing, unlawful possession of a controlled substance, and possession of drug paraphernalia. A second person, also located inside the room, is facing those same charges. On April 16th, officers attempted to contact a woman for trespassing with an open container in the 4900 block of Kipling. There was a short foot chase, and once she was caught, officers learned she had 5 warrants for her arrest, drugs in her possession, and a protection order against her. She was jailed. Also on April 16th, officers were called to 48th and Wadsworth for what was originally reported as a car versus motorcycle crash. What they responded to turned out to be something far more convoluted. Officers found only the motorcycle driver on scene, but no motorcycle and no vehicle. We learned the vehicle took off with the motorcycle still trapped underneath it. A neighboring agency located it, and the female driver was arrested for hit and run and suspicion of DUI. It turns out she and the motorcycle driver are married, and the collision may have been intentional. The woman also had a gun in her pocket upon her arrest, so additionally she is facing prohibited use of a weapon charges. On April 15th, a man was contacted in the 3400 block of Fenton Street. He was in possession of a firearm, which would ordinarily be permitted, but he was found to be intoxicated. Therefore, he faces the same charge as in the incident just mentioned, prohibited use of a weapon. On April 14th, officers were called to the 3600 block of Parfit Street for reports that a juvenile male had been stabbed multiple times. A family member had transported the teen to a local hospital where he is recovering. This incident is still under investigation, so no further information is available for public release at this time. Earlier on April 14th, officers were called to an aggravated motor vehicle theft in the 9900 block of West 49th Avenue. A 2016 Chrysler Town & Country van stolen out of Boulder was located in the parking lot here. The person sleeping in the front seat was listed in law enforcement databases as the suspect. After a consult with Boulder police, he was contacted and taken into custody. Now here's a case detectives could really use the public's help in resolving. On April 9th, around 8:15 p.m., officers were dispatched to the Walgreens on Wadsworth for a fraud report. A customer allegedly attempted to pay for merchandise with a counterfeit $100 bill, then left the area in a U-Haul box truck with an Arizona license plate. That number is AH75108. If you believe you have any information about that vehicle or the person who may have been driving it, please reach out to our investigative team at the number that's there on your screen. Now, less than a week later, on April 13th, the same Walgreens was hit again with another counterfeit $100 bill. In this case, a manager discovered the bill in the register, meaning an employee had at some point accepted it as a form of payment. Now, in between your calls for service, our officers proactively patrolled areas in the city we know to be higher in crime, contacting people for less serious offenses like trespassing and jaywalking, then often making arrests for warrants, drugs, and/or drug paraphernalia. Officers also focused on dangerous driving behavior on streets where you've told us, and we've seen it ourselves. Excluding our crash and traffic team, patrol officers also issued approximately 53 traffic citations. We also recovered 4 stolen vehicles, including the one out of Boulder. And don't forget, all through the month of April, which is Child Abuse Awareness Month, WRPD is selling these pinwheels on behalf of Ralston House, a child advocacy center that conducts forensic interviews and provides services for kids who have been the victims of or witnesses to crimes. All money raised goes to support their organization, which we absolutely depend on nearly a daily basis. If you're interested in making a donation, please reach out to either of our detectives who specialize in crimes against children. Their email addresses are listed right there on your screen. That's all for now. We'll see you next time. And remember, if you need us, we are always just minutes away.